Okay, Huddersfield have been officially relegated from the Premier League today following their 2-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. That means they're sitting bottom with 14 points. This is the joint quickest relegation in Premier League history, joining up with the woeful Derby County of 2007. You just could not get any worse than that side. So that Derby County record-breakingly bad season is the equal to this Huddersfield season. Fulham aren't much better, I will say this. Had Huddersfield been able to get a couple more goals here or there in some close games that were draws and turn those to wins, they wouldn't be bottom. And there's only 3 points different, but the goal difference is actually favouring Huddersfield. So when it comes to the final prize money at the end of the season, Huddersfield could actually leapfrog Fulham and finish second bottom. I think that's going to be Huddersfield's goal now, is not to finish last. They've actually closed the gap on Fulham, who had a fair gap over them at one point. I think it was as big as 9-10 points. It slipped to 3. So. And you've got to look at the difference in budgets and how much money's actually been spent. Now, Huddersfield have had that extra season in the Premier League. They've got some revenue from that extra season. They haven't spent a lot of money, which has been part of the problem. They've been balancing financial prudence with survival, and it's been, unfortunately, a balancing act that's unfortunately caused them to get relegated this season. That, and they haven't scored enough goals, and their defence hasn't been as solid as it was last year. But Huddersfield, by virtue of how well they played last year, that prize money they would have got from their finishing position, that would have helped them a little bit. Fulham have spent over £100 million just on players, not only to get to the Premier League, but also to try and stay in. And they've sacked 2 managers this season, which means a lot of compensation payments. So they've had to fork out over 100 million, 150 million, let's say, in compensation payments and transfer fees and other ins and outs of that promotion that they got last year, and they're only 3 points better off. Huddersfield have barely spent a penny because Wagner decided to resign rather than got sacked, so he decided to step away. So his compensation payment will be a lot less than Ranieri's or Jankovic, Ranieri's compensation payment, for example. And while they've got Seward as manager, and I do believe he will stay there long term and rebuild the club, and they can learn from the relegation, and he can talk to the board about potential investment going forward and increasing investment and looking at the club going forward. Because I think Huddersfield have more than enough to go down to the Championship and then come back up. I don't think the financial hit and penalty on Huddersfield is going to be anywhere near as bad as Fulham. I think Fulham are going to be financially in a really bad state. I think Fulham could do an Aston Villa or a Leeds United and really be financially in trouble from next season. I think Huddersfield, they're not going to. They've barely spent any money in the Premier League. They've been very financially prudent. They've been very well run. They're working on a very small budgets. They haven't overspent. They've lived within their means, and look where it's got them. It's got them relegated after 2 years. Fulham, they're delaying the inevitable. They also lost today as well. Had Huddersfield won and Fulham lost today, Fulham would be bottom of the Premier League. Fulham are really in trouble as well. Huddersfield have gone. It is sad, but they gave it their all. They didn't quit on anyone. They just were financially not competitive enough. You got to look at the financial gulf. And they didn't score enough goals. Part of the problem, the defence wasn't good enough this season. They seem to lack a little bit of that team unity and fight they had last year as well, which is where earlier in the season I thought they could get out of the situation, figure a way out. As time went on, we got from September into October, it looked very likely that they were going to be in a scrap. When we hit November, December, it was very likely they were going to get relegated. It was very obvious a long way out that Huddersfield were in serious trouble. But I think that the ownership of the club realised very early on this season that, this is our second and last season in the Premier League for now. We're going to get relegated this year. Let's plan for next year. I think they were already planning for next year from very early on this season. Fulham, on the other hand, have spent a lot of money. And mathematically, they can get out of the situation. I can't see it happening. They're 11 points behind Cardiff. They're 16 points from safety. I can see Fulham getting relegated next weekend. But today, Huddersfield have sadly gone down. Of course, there's still games to play and final league positions to play for as well. The best Huddersfield can hope for is second bottom. And I think they'll be targeting to leapfrog Fulham just so they can get that little bit extra prize money. Plus, they get a slightly bigger parachute payment going out of the Premier League. But we'll see what happens. I think Huddersfield will be fine in the Championship. I don't see them struggling next season. I can see that club's been very well run for a very long time on a prudent basis. Fulham, however, have been spending money like it's going out of fashion, and it only got them 3 extra points in the Premier League this season. So money doesn't actually buy you success or survival in a league. It can actually, sometimes it hasn't worked at Fulham, and I think Fulham will be the next club relegated. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. If you are a Huddersfield fan, hey, it's been a joy having Huddersfield in the Premier League. I think it's a different different ground, it's different atmosphere. Fans are brilliant. Much like Derby County were when they got relegated, the fans, have always supported Huddersfield Town brilliantly. And Huddersfield's a great sporting town. It's the birthplace of rugby league. We've got the Huddersfield Giants in rugby league, so there's always another flip side to the coin. They've got two very, very good professional sports clubs in Huddersfield Town and Huddersfield Giants. So they're a credit to their community, and it's a shame that they've had to get relegated, but it is what it is. But thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.